You know, when I hear all what I did, it's like if I was already dead. So thank you to the World Jewish Congress, who was even part of the builders of my non-profit, Yahad in Unum. Thank you to the Rwanda government. I was a few days ago in Johannesburg, inaugurating the first Holocaust and genocide centers, which shows both Holocaust and Rwanda genocide. So effectively, since 15 years, we go from village to village after working with archives in all the countries of post-Soviet Union. We go from Lithuania to Azerbaijan because it was a killing continent. And same time now we work in Guatemala to teach Holocaust, and we go also from family to family in the Yazidi camps of IDP. I know all of you are experts, so I will tell you what we found. First constatation, there is no genocide without the neighbors. When you want to kill a population in a country, if they are Jews, if they are Roma, if they are Tutsi, or if they are Yazidi, you need the neighbors. You need the neighbors. They are not necessarily guilty, but you will choose the neighbors to be alive, and you will choose this population to die. What did it mean? For the units who killed the German, we estimate is more than 2 million of victims, only the Jews, plus the Gypsy. They had a special strategy that worked well, unfortunately. First, they decided who will be the shooter. They took this decision one day before. So they say, you, tomorrow you'll be a shooter, because one day a German can be a shooter and the next day he can be a driver. When the German, they know they will shoot, they drink all the night, because they know they have to wake up at 4 o'clock and to drive to the village silently. But before that, the German joins the village and they send an architect with the specialist of the digging of the mass grave. And he goes to the city hall, German, and he asks how many Jews are still alive, and he will calculate the volume of the mass grave according to the number of people we want to kill. You must understand there were two kinds of mass graves. Mass grave when people were killed from the top and were falling down, and mass grave with stairs where the Jews were forced to go down and lay on the corpse. It was called Sardinenpackung. But what we discovered and what I show in my second book was very difficult, is that when they know they will assassinate a village, a Jewish village or a city, they surrender the village with machine gun. And for the neighbors, they know it's the last day they can enjoy something from the Jews. So at the morning, every policeman said, I could rape 3 girls, I could rape 4 girls, I could rape 5 girls. It was difficult to reach this evidence. I will never forget, I interviewed a survivor from the ghetto of Minsk. He was a teenager, he was Jew, and he was hidden in a room, and suddenly he saw 3 Germans raping the Jewish neighbor who was 14 years old. And the family, the Jewish family, of course, went out to protect the girl. The Germans shot the girl and finished the rape. And I will never forget what he told me, because after he was sent to Auschwitz, he told me, at least in Auschwitz we could sleep. I say that because in a genocide, the rape is not a collateral problem. It's completely part of the genocide and done in broad daylight. And in most of the time, we don't speak about it. We saw in the Gestapo of post-Soviet Union, Jewish sex slaves who have been used in every Gestapo. So after the German, the mass grave is ready. They drive in the night to the village, and they want to meet everybody, and even the cooker, because they want to eat in time. I interviewed 3 women who were cooking during the shooting. One lady, she told me, they dressed a long table near the mass grave, like a buffet, and 2 by 2 they went to shoot Jews, and I was serving food, and they wanted big pieces of meat, And she told me at the end of the lunch, it was 1,500 Jews less. I say that because I discovered that the killers go on their usual life during a killing. They are chosen to be alive, so they want to have good life. I will never forget, I found the testimony of a German. He was delivering sandwiches in Babi Yar to the killers. So he had a van with sandwiches and tea. And he had to drive between the naked Jews waiting to be shot until a table and putting the tea in the sandwiches. And he received a complaint from the German that there was no vodka in the tea because it was a 3-day shooting, so the chief said no vodka, otherwise they will be drunk. So we have on one side the life of the people with their normal life, a day of killing, and the death of the neighbors. So after the Germans, they surrender the village and they say, don't worry, we deport you to Palestine or to Kiev or to work, but mainly in Palestine. I remember an interview, a Ukrainian lady, she saw her neighbor, Jewish, in a line, and she began to cry. And the Jewish neighbor said, don't cry, we go to Palestine. And the Ukrainian lady said, no, you don't go to Palestine. I saw the mass grave just behind the church this morning when I was with my cow. And the German told her, stop to speak with the Jews. So the Jews make a long line in the middle of the street, 5 per 5. Why 5 per 5? Because Himmler wanted to know exactly how many Jews were shot, so there was a counter. And suddenly there was somebody says, direction Palestine. And so they walk. The trick was to make the mass grave, to dig the mass grave in the same direction that the train station most of the time. So the Jews think really they will take the train. And suddenly no more train station. Links, rechts, it's finished. The Jews realize they will die. So the women take all their jewels and throw them. And sometimes, you know, it's very moving. We find wedding rings, medallion, Magen David. So for me, it's both an evidence that the victims were Jew, because we have to prove the victims were Jew, because deniers today say Holocaust never existed. But in the same time, it's the last jest that this woman did before to die. And always, I think in my heart, we found you. You died in 42, but we found you. And after they said to the Jews to lay down on the grass, and they will isolate them 5 per 5 or 10 per 10. Why 5 or 10? Because 5 shooters, 10 shooters. They established a rule, 1 bullet, 1 Jew. It was a request to make economy of ammunition for army. So it means if Jews were only injured or babies or too old, they were pushed and buried alive. And in every village, farmers remembers the mass grave took 3 days to die. And they always make this movement. I will never forget, I interviewed in Simferopol in Crimea, a lady, she was 4 years old, and she was shot with the family, but in fact she fell down, she was not injured, and she succeeded in the night to wake up and to escape through the roots of the trees. She was naked, it was a big mass grave of 11,000 Jews, and she went naked to a family of Ukrainians who saved her, and she was still living when I made the interview a few kilometers from the mass grave of 11,000 people. And the same day, they will wash the suits, sell them by auction, take the belongings of the Jews house by house, and in every village, any country, people said we were all suited in Jew. There is no genocide without remplacement. You take the house, you take the belonging. So I always say that because the genocide is not only a hate crime, an anti-Semite crime, it's also to take the belongings and the money. As I say always, the SS was not a non-profit. And so also to take the girl, so it's always ideology, sex, and money. There is no pure anti-Semite, there is no pure hate groups. I never saw an SS say, I don't care the money. You know, when you work long time in post-Soviet Union, you begin to think that the countries are very bad. But when we began to work in Iraq, there was no Polish and no Lithuanian and no German, or a few one, but in ISIS. And we began to interview the Yazidi. We have actually helping more than 400 children Yazidi who have been brainwashed, who don't remember even their name, and who have been trained as terrorists. And we are helping also more than 1,000 women to make a future without any male in the family. But we interviewed also 300 Yazidi. We interviewed them just when they escaped, and I found a similarity. ISIS, when they surrendered a village of Yazidi, they made a deal with the neighbors. No genocide without the neighbors. So then suddenly the Yazidi wake up and they see that all the roads are blocked by the neighbors. And I will never forget the testimony of this young child. He was Yazidi, 6 years old, and his best boyfriend, they were friends in the school, told him to come to play in his house. So he went to play, and the neighbor, the other child, he closed the door, and he called ISIS to say, I have a Yazidi in my room. So this child, he said, I will never forget, I have been arrested because of my best friend. There is no more best friend in a genocide. And so they do the same thing. The roads are blocked, the cars of ISIS are arriving and say the same music, don't worry, no crime, convert to Islam, it's only a changement of nationality, and have to go to administration to receive an ID. You know, some Yazidi don't believe. If they don't believe, really, they are shot. But most of them say, okay, let's put a white flag, say we are Muslim, and they go to the city hall. When they enter in the city hall, it's a big room, they close it. Doctors are entering, they take all the newborn babies, they put them in a truck, and they will give them to radical Muslim family of ISIS. And until now, the families are looking everywhere, where is my baby? After, doctors enter also to check if the girls are virgin or not. Because the mothers, they realize they will take their girls, so they give them a wedding ring and a baby. So they isolate each girl to check if she is virgin, and they will be sold by a group of 200, 300, and after put in jail and sold again and again. A girl who goes out of ISIS today has been sold between 25 to 35 times. And remembers all the name and the faces. I will never forget this woman. She was 37 years old. She told me, my memory is no more good. I have written the list of all the male who raped me. It was a long list. And so after, they will isolate the boys. If a boy is more than 11, he will be shot, like all the male. But if he's from 7 to 11, they will take them, put them in an Islamic school of ISIS in Mosul during 1.5 years. And after they have a test to pass in Raqqa, the test is to know the exact list of people it's legal to kill by religion and by country. If they succeed the test, they are put in some training camps in Syria, secret training camps of ISIS, and progressively they are being sent to the front. And the older people are shot. So I saw, I will not be long. First, no genocide without the neighbors. Today also, no genocide without advertising. You know, for the killing units of German, we have found 400 pictures taken by the killers. But it was not pictures of propaganda. It was family souvenir. I will never forget this shooter. He sent a postcard to his wife with a picture that he took. And he said, my dear love, you saw we are playing with Jewish children like balloons. We throw them in air and we shoot. Imagine if we don't do that, what the Jews will do to Germany at the next generation. See you soon, my love. So most of the pictures we have are family souvenirs because they are proud. They were Überman, Superman. Nothing stronger than to be a Superman legalized to kill. You know, they took a lot of pictures because many Germans had Leica at the period, and it was very easy to do. So it was not secret. The genocide of the Jews, 2.2 million shootings every day during 3 years, was completely in full broad daylight. And I never saw a shooting that had to stop because of Red Army or because of the neighbors. Because everybody wanted the belongings. The second thing, you know, ISIS, they are the champion of the mediatization. Until now, people, one member of my team, Mark, who is the general director of here, we are 29 full-time in Paris, plus a team in Guatemala, plus a team in Iraq. We receive every day the video of ISIS. So, you know, you listen to some president to say, ISIS is dead, but on your website, you have video of propaganda of ISIS every day, until now. So it's a dead we're speaking. And so they did a lot of video. You know, even us at the beginning, we screened their video to know what they did, where it was, where was the crime. But at the end, one day they killed 30 men like animals. And so we couldn't even bear the video. So I say, more a genocide is shown, more it's secret. More it's advertised, more it's secret. Why? Because the normal population cannot bear it. The normal population can say, oh, Father is too graphic. Me, I teach in Georgetown, so always I say, I will show you something graphic. Always somebody says, oh, Father is too graphic. And I understand. But they are not afraid to show graphic and graphic every day. So the public opinion say, oh, no, it's too graphic. And the followers say, we will join. So more you show, more you attract followers, and more the normal population will not say anything. Anything. Don't forget, all the mass crime we have been advertised didn't provoke anything. So more it's advertised, less we see. Secondly, the problem that we have with the Yazidi is that nearly nobody knew the Nazi Yazidi before. Myself, I never heard about the Yazidi. So it seems when you kill a population who is not well known, like the Jews of Soviet Union, far away in Caucasus, near Azerbaijan or in Crimea, if you kill the gypsy in the middle of nowhere, and you kill a Yazidi that nobody knew, the time you react, the time you make meetings, it's finished. All genocide are quick. But also a big challenge. I never saw a slow genocide. They know that time is against them. So they have to do it quickly. I would say I stay optimist. I teach in Georgetown, another one is teaching in Sorbonne University in my team, another one is teaching in Cologne, Germany, and we make teaching of professor of high school. I see many young generation who say, I will do something. I will not stay behind my screen making Facebook. It's a genocide because killers, they don't care Facebook, they use it. So I would say I'm very optimistic. A full new generation have a question, what can I do to stop it? Not to memorize it when it's finished, because that is good, but too late, What can I do? And I say, I see nonprofit working on the ground. With very small money, we can do a lot. And I'm great admiration for all the big organizations who do much more. But I would say, the first thing is to act during the genocide. Today, genocide of Yazidis is not finished, by the way. There are still many Yazidis who are in the middle of nowhere, in Syria, in small village, that are still keeping to make money to sell them back. We must act. Because, you know, I stay a believer. And the first question of God when Cain was killing Abel is, where is your brother? Her brother was being assassinated. And I think each one of us, when we will arrive to after death, they will not tell us where was your president. God will not tell us where was United Nations. He will tell us where were you yourself. And we will have to answer. Thank you.